Hello, and welcome to another episode of AI in the Classroom Daily, a podcast helping educators make sense of AI without the hype. I'm Dan Cogan-Drew, co-founder, chief academic officer here at Newsela, and I use AI as a thinking partner in preparing each of these episodes because I think the best way to talk honestly about AI in education is to work with it openly. So for years, the instruction to students was simple. Don't cite Wikipedia. Anyone can edit it. You can't trust it. A lot of us grew up on that rule, and a lot of us still teach it. Here's what's strange about that rule now. Wikipedia has become one of the places AI systems draw their answers from, and it does something in that role that most AI tools don't do. When it doesn't have an answer, it says so. Plainly, no guessing, no filling in the gap with something plausible sounding. That's the subject of today's episode, where an AI's answer actually comes from, what happens when the source runs out, and how one college instructor uses Wikipedia as a vehicle for creating a more authentic research and writing assignment. So Jennifer Bernstein, a professor at Texas Tech, described testing the bounds of Wikipedia's knowledge. Before writing a Wikipedia article on a topic she knew well, she asked ChatGPT what it knew. She found the answer pretty thin. Then she published her article. 10 minutes later, she asked again. This time, GPT had a solid answer with a link straight to the article that she'd just written. 10 minutes. Not a metaphor for how AI training works someday. That's how fast a piece of public, well-sourced writing entered the pool of information a chatbot pulls from. Leanna Davis, who runs Wiki Education's student writing program, put a number on why this matters for research topics specifically. Wikipedia's coverage is strongest where a lot of people are writing and reading. That is, topics like pop culture, current events, celebrities. It's weaker in academic and specialized subjects, areas where students are often researching for school. When there isn't a well-researched Wikipedia article to draw from, the AI is working with less. And when it's working with less, it's more likely to be thin, vague, or simply wrong. Now, I want to be careful not to get too technical here because the exact mechanics of how a model is trained versus what it retrieves live are different questions, and reasonable people can argue about the details. But the plain version still holds up. Wikipedia is one of the heaviest weighted sources feeding what these tools say, both in training and in real-time lookups. A gap in Wikipedia's coverage is a plausible reason why an AI tool goes soft or invents something when a student asks it a question in the same gap. The chatbot's confidence isn't evenly distributed across every topic. It's higher where the underlying source material is thick and lower, sometimes fabricated, where it's thin. So if you go to Wikipedia and you search for something that doesn't have an article, it tells you, no article by this name. There's nothing invented, nothing approximated. On the other hand, if you go and ask a chatbot a question it doesn't have good grounding for, it typically won't stop. It answers anyway in the same confident tone it uses for everything else. The tool that was drilled into students as unreliable will refuse to answer rather than make something up. The tool that's frequently treated as the modern trustworthy default usually won't refuse at all. That's the irony, I think, that's sitting underneath this whole conversation. Wikipedia's reputation problem was always about who's allowed to write it. Anyone with an account, no credential required. But the thing that actually protects its accuracy isn't who writes it. It's the rule that governs what survives. Every claim has to trace back to a source that actually says it. No source, no claim. That's what it calls verifiability. And it's enforced hard enough that Davis's organization runs detection software specifically to catch AI-drafted Wikipedia content that sounds right, but fails the traceback test. An AI chatbot doesn't have an equivalent hard gate. It's built to produce a fluent response to almost any prompt, whether or not there's real grounding underneath it. Fluency isn't tied to verification the way it is on Wikipedia. So you end up with this reversal. A source generations of students were warned off of turns out to have a stricter, more disciplined relationship with the truth than the source that replaced it in a lot of research habits. I don't think that means that Wikipedia is flawless or that the old warnings were baseless. It's still a volunteer-written encyclopedia. Quality varies by topic. But the idea that anyone can edit it and it has a real editorial discipline aren't in conflict. The discipline isn't about credentials, it's about the willingness to say nothing rather than say something ungrounded. It's a distinction worth teaching on its own. So what do you actually do with this? Bernstein's version is having students write real Wikipedia articles instead of papers that disappear the moment they're graded. Davis's organization runs the support structure for that at the college level. Accounts, training, an instructor onboarding process built for a college course, not a Tuesday assignment for a ninth grader. So I don't think the takeaway is assign Wikipedia editing. The takeaway is smaller and more portable than that. If you show students the contrast directly, that is, you search Wikipedia for a real gap in its coverage, watch it say plainly that it doesn't have an answer, then ask a chatbot the same question and watch it answer it anyway. That single demonstration is going to do two things at once. AI literacy, in that it shows students concretely that a confident sounding answer isn't the same as a grounded one, and it makes an argument for the value of sourced writing itself, because the discipline that lets Wikipedia say, we don't have this, is the same discipline, cite it or it doesn't go in, that a research assignment is supposed to be teaching in the first place. What I keep thinking about in the context of today's topic is, here is how much of the AI conversation in schools is about whether to let students use it, and how little of it is about where its answers are actually coming from. This interview gave me a genuinely simple way to show that difference. You ask Wikipedia something it doesn't know, then ask the chatbot the same thing, and watch what each one does with the not knowing. Have you ever shown students what an AI tool does when it's asked something outside of its depth? And have you tried using Wikipedia's own gaps, the places it says it has no information, no answer, no article, as a way to talk about the contrast in AI's confidence and Wikipedia's self-effacing, mute response? Please leave a comment. I would love to know any examples you have. I find hugely informative and interesting. As always, thanks for spending a little bit of time with us, and we'll see you in tomorrow's episode.